Now, usually, I try to make videos that inspire you to travel or chase your dreams, and I'd much rather you watch those. But I do realize that a lot of times chasing your dreams end up becoming a business. So I thought I'd lend a helping hand, or two.
Hey guys, so the last video I believe I said we were going to start talking about ratio, and as you can tell from these flashcards here, we are, well, that was a lie. What we're going to do first is talk about working capital. Working capital is a very good way for us to build on our business understanding and how we're going to start looking at taking risk. So working capital I like, especially because number one, a lot of people rely on it. In school, you're going to talk about it, and in practice, it's going to be usually the first key step that a bank is going to take before they decide if they want to lend you some money. And it's the first thing you should look at before you even build up the audacity to ask for some money. Okay? All right, so we are both partners here. I'm not going to treat you with kid gloves. We are going to make some hard business decisions. I want you to brace yourself. I want you to have opinions. I want you to feel as if you can disagree with me. Start disagreeing with me. Okay? Start understanding what it is that we are arguing about, because I want to go borrow some money. You may not want to go borrow some money. You may want to just use the money we've already saved up. And I may think, no, this is our chance to leverage. I'm confident that this investment is going to have a positive yield. So let's take the chance and borrow some money. But before we start looking at complex ratios, no, complex is the wrong word. Before we start looking at more involved ratios, let's take a look at the simple net working capital. I've left this long enough for you to understand that it's just current assets minus current liabilities. And it's almost too good to be true, because you look at your balance sheet and we'll say our total current assets right now, things that we have that we can or plan on liquidating within the year, is a total of, we're a small company, but we're going to eventually blow up. For right now, though, we have things that we plan on selling or hope to sell or can sell within a year. They total $50,000 in value. How much do we owe already? How much do we need to pay off by the end of this year? Let's say it's $20,000. Okay, so what is our working capital? The way I want you to think of working capital, guys, is how much room do we have to work with? Okay, before you argue with me, before we decide if we can borrow or not, if that's the best thing for us to do, let's see how much wiggle room we have. What kind of room are we working with? And working capital, net working capital, is going to tell us how much room we have to work with. And it looks like in this case, we have $30,000 that we can work with here. We take all what we have that we plan on or that we can sell within the year, then we subtract out all we owe this year, and we realize how much room we have to work with here. So now, whatever we borrow, we have to take into consideration, because a bank is not going to say, hey, pay everything back within this year. But let's say our supplier is going to deliver a bunch of supplies or inventory or whatever it is that our suppliers are going to deliver us worth $30,000. I'm sure they're going to want to get paid. If we only have current assets worth $50,000, do we really want to take the chance, or do we want to cut back a little bit and go, whoa, look, we already owe $20,000. We only have $30,000 to work with. Perhaps we should only acquire on credit $15,000 worth of supply. So let's see what happens when we do that. Take this away. $50,000 of our assets. Okay, so we'll just, I don't want to put brackets because then I'm confusing things. $20,000 that we already owe. And let's, in different colors, what you and I are discussing. All right, we know that whatever we borrow, we're going to owe, let's just say $10,000. Well, let's say $15,000. Let's say $15,000 this year is going to be due. We're going to owe our suppliers within the year $15,000. Or whatever it is. Now, we see that, whoa, Excalibur again. Am I worthy? Yes, I am. Okay. So now we see that what will be left, the amount of room we have to work with this year, will be $15,000. That's all working capital is, okay? This very first example, all our current assets, everything we have that we can sell or plan on selling, and I keep emphasizing the difference between because prepaid expenses, we we very well can ask for that money back, but because we still have a right to it as long as the expenses haven't accrued, we haven't actually been delivered any goods or services. But most likely we're not going to. If we pay our rent ahead of time, we're probably going to actually stay in that space for that time. We're not going to collect it. So I always make the differentiation of that we can sell or plan on selling. Okay, because it's not the end all be all. There are certain things in here, like our supplies, for example. Sure, if we haven't opened up that box of paper, we may be able to sell it to someone else, but who knows the value we're going to get for it. All right, so it's very vague, but it's a starting point. Okay, so net working capital, how much room do we have to work with here? In this case, if we were going to take out an extra loan, whatever that amount is, and we know that as a result of taking on that loan, we're going to owe this year $15,000, you have to think about your wiggle room. What kind of room are we working with? That's just current assets minus current liabilities. Hopefully, the whole wiggle room thing, what kind of space are we working with, helps you remember that for you to know how much breathing room that you're working with, you need to think about the right now. Okay, because if the company is going to be successful 10 years from now, but you can't pay your bills right now, you are suffocating. All right, you have no room to work with. I don't care about what's happening in the future. It's about right now. All right, so that's our current assets, our current liabilities. How much room am I working with? Okay, how much space do I have to breathe? Working capital, current assets, current things we can sell, we may liquidate, we may turn into cash within the year, minus the amount of money that we owe this year, that we have to pay back this year, our liabilities, our obligations. That is our net working capital. Okay? How much wiggle room do we have? What kind of room are we working with?
Thank you so much for watching. Turning a dream into a reality usually ends up becoming your business. That is why we have the Helping Hands videos. Subscribe, like, and feel free to leave a comment below. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Fans of Kindness, our Facebook page, is also waiting for you. See you in the next video. Until then, be your best and never stop learning.